Welcome to Fazza Poetry World, where hearts turn into poetry. Baby, stay here for a moment. Don't rush this feeling. Because what I'm about to say is not just poetry, it's a place where my soul lives. And that place is you. In the quiet of the morning light, when the world is still learning how to breathe again, when the sun hasn't fully opened its eyes, and the air feels soft, untouched, pure, that is when I feel you the most. Not in noise, not in chaos, but in silence, where your presence wraps around me. Like something I was always meant to find. I wake up, and before I even open my eyes, my heart whispers your name. Like it's the first prayer of the day. Because loving you, it doesn't start when I see you, it starts before the world even begins. Your smile, it's not just a smile. It's sunlight breaking through a storm. I didn't even realize I was trapped in. It's warmth on days I feel cold inside. It's hope, when everything else feels uncertain. And your eyes, God, your eyes, they don't just look at me, they understand me. Like they can read the parts of me I never learned how to explain. In them, I don't feel judged, I don't feel lost, I don't feel incomplete, I feel seen. And that is the rarest kind of love. Your laugh, it's not just a sound. It's a melody that fixes something inside me. A rhythm that slows down my chaos. A song that plays in my mind. Long after the moment is gone. Sometimes I catch myself smiling for no reason, and then I realize. It's because somewhere in my thoughts, you're laughing again. And suddenly, everything feels okay. We walk through life, hand in hand, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, like two souls that were tired of being alone. Finally finding their way back to each other. With you, I don't feel like I have to be strong all the time. I can be soft. I can be quiet. I can be vulnerable, and still feel safe. Because your embrace, it's not just a hug. It's a home. A place where my fears don't follow me. A place where my past loses its weight. A place where I don't have to pretend anymore. In your arms, I don't just exist, I belong. And when the night falls, when the stars begin to shimmer, like tiny pieces of dreams scattered across the sky, that's when my heart speaks the loudest. I whisper your name into the silence, as if the universe itself needs to hear how much you mean to me. The moon watches, the wind listens, and my soul confesses what words can never fully hold. That loving you is the most real thing I've ever felt. Your touch, it's gentle, but powerful. Like a breeze that doesn't just pass by, but stays, and heals something deep within. Every time you hold my hand, it's like you're telling me, I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. And maybe that's why my heart finally feels at peace. Not because life is perfect, but because you're in it. through the highs, when everything feels like a dream, through the lows, when the world feels heavy, through sunshine, and through rain, you are my constant, not just in moments of happiness, but in moments of doubt. Not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Our love, it's not fragile. It doesn't break with storms. It becomes stronger. Like a light, that refuses to go out. No matter how dark the night gets. And today, in this moment, I give you something I've never given anyone before. Not just my words, not just my feelings, but my truth. Here's my heart, raw, real, unfiltered, not perfect, not flawless, but yours. Completely yours. In every moment, every second, every breath, my love for you doesn't fade. It doesn't pause. It doesn't change. It grows. Quietly, deeply, endlessly, and as we walk this life together, side by side, step by step, I don't promise perfection. I don't promise a life without pain. But I promise this. You will never walk alone. Because in this world, full of temporary things, full of people who come and go, you are my forever. Not just today. Not just tomorrow. But always. Because out of everything I could have found in this life, I found you. And somehow, that made everything make sense. So if you ever feel lost, if you ever feel unsure, if you ever question your place in this world, come back to me. Come back to this love. Because in my arms, in my heart, you will always have a home. And no matter where life takes us, no matter how far we go, just remember this one thing. You are not just someone I love, you are my world. And listen, don't think the story ends here. Because what I feel for you, it doesn't fit into one moment, one confession, or one night of whispered words. This love, it continues. Even after the silence. Even after the world sleeps. Even after everything else fades away. Because you are not just a chapter in my life. You are the reason the story exists. Sometimes I sit alone, and I think about how everything changed. How before you, life felt like something I was just passing through. Days came and went, people came and left, smiles felt temporary, and happiness always had an expiration date. But then you happened. Not loudly. Not suddenly. But softly, like a feeling that slowly takes over your entire being. Until you realize. You're not the same person anymore. You didn't just enter my life, you rebuilt it. In ways I never asked for, but always needed. You taught me that love isn't about grand promises, it's about quiet consistency. It's not about perfect words, it's about real presence. It's not about never falling, it's about having someone who stays, even when you do. And you stayed. Even when I was difficult. even when I didn't understand myself. Even when my silence spoke louder than my words. You didn't leave. And maybe you don't even realize it, but in those moments, you gave me something no one ever did. Security. Not the kind that's spoken, but the kind that's felt. The kind that says, I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. And that changed everything. Because when you've spent your life feeling like people are temporary, when you've learned to not get too attached, to not expect too much, and then suddenly, someone proves you wrong. It shakes you. In the most beautiful way. Now I find myself dreaming again, but not the kind of dreams that disappear in the morning. These dreams, they have your name in them. I imagine a life, not perfect, not flawless, but ours. Simple moments, like sitting together in silence, yet saying everything without a single word. Late night conversations, where time forgets to move, and the world doesn't matter anymore. Arguments, yes, even those, because even in misunderstandings, there's something real about choosing each other again. And growth, growing together, not apart. Becoming better, not just for ourselves, but for each other. Because love like this, it doesn't stay the same. It evolves. It deepens. It becomes something stronger than feelings. It becomes a decision. And every day, I choose you. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because even in a world full of choices, you are the one I would still pick. Again, and again, and again. There are moments when I get scared. Not of losing you, but of not being enough for you. Because you deserve a love that never makes you question your worth. A love that feels safe, steady, unbreakable. And sometimes I wonder, am I giving you that? Am I loving you the way you deserve? Because the truth is, you are too important to me for me to ever take this lightly. You're not just someone I love, you're someone I want to protect, to understand, to grow with, to build something real with, something that doesn't fade when things get hard, something that doesn't disappear when life gets complicated, something that stays just like you did. And if one day, life tests us, if distance tries to weaken us, if misunderstandings try to break us, if silence tries to create space between us, I want you to remember this moment. Remember my words. Remember how deeply, how genuinely, how completely I love you. Because love like this, it doesn't vanish. It fights. It waits. It survives. Not perfectly, but honestly. And if you ever feel tired, if you ever feel like giving up, come to me. Not with perfection, not with answers, just come as you are. Because I don't love a perfect version of you. I love the real you. The one who laughs loudly, the one who gets quiet sometimes, the one who overthinks, the one who cares too much, that's the person I chose. That's the person I will keep choosing. And as this journey continues, as time moves forward, as life keeps changing, one thing will remain the same. My heart. It will still beat your name. In the quiet moments. It will still search for you. In crowded places. It will still find its peace. In your presence. Because some connections, they're not temporary. They're not accidental. They're written, somewhere deeper than logic can understand. And maybe that's what we are. Not just love, but something meant to be felt. Beyond explanation. So stay, not just for the good days, but for all of them. Because I'm not going anywhere. Not now. Not later. Not ever. And as long as I have this heart, as long as I have this breath, it will always belong to you. And maybe, what I'm about to say now, is the part I never knew how to explain before. Because love, real love, it doesn't just live in beautiful moments. It reveals itself in the quiet struggles, in the unspoken fears, in the parts we try to hide. There are nights, when everything feels heavy. When my thoughts don't slow down, when silence becomes loud, and even the strongest hearts feel tired. And in those moments, it's not the world I turn to. It's you. Not because you fix everything, but because you make everything feel bearable. You don't erase my pain, but somehow, you make it lighter. And that's how I know. This isn't just love. This is something deeper. Because love that only exists in happiness, is easy. But love that stays. When things are messy, when emotions are complicated, when words fail, that's rare. And you are rare. I never told you this before, but there was a time. I got used to being alone. Not physically, but emotionally. I learned how to hide things. How to smile when I didn't feel okay. How to carry everything quietly. Without expecting anyone to notice. Because that's what life taught me. Not everyone stays. Not everyone understands. Not everyone cares enough to try. But then you came, and suddenly, I didn't want to hide anymore, not because you forced me, but because with you, I felt safe enough to be seen. And that scared me. Because when you finally find someone who sees you completely, you also realize how much you can lose. And losing you, that's a fear I don't know how to describe. It's not loud. It doesn't scream. It sits quietly in my chest sometimes, reminding me how important you've become. But even with that fear, I don't hold back my love. Because you deserve to feel it fully. Not half. Not uncertain. Not confusing. But real. Honest. Consistent. Unfiltered. There are days when I wonder, how did I get so lucky out of all the paths, all the people, all the moments in this world, how did I find you? Or maybe, how did you find me? Because meeting you, it didn't feel random. It felt like something that was always meant to happen. Like two stories, written separately, finally connecting at the right time. And now, I can't imagine a version of my life where you don't exist. Not because I depend on you, but because you've become a part of me. In the way I think, in the way I feel, in the way I see the world. You changed my perspective, without even trying. You showed me that love doesn't have to hurt to be real. That it doesn't have to be confusing to be meaningful. That it doesn't have to be temporary to be beautiful. And now, I find myself wanting things I never did before. A future, not just as an idea, but as something I actually look forward to. A life, where your presence is constant. Moments, that we create together. Memories, that we hold onto forever. And yes, there will be challenges. There will be misunderstandings. There will be days when we don't agree. Days when emotions take over words. But even in those moments, I don't see an ending. I see growth. Because I don't want a perfect love. I want a real one. One that survives storms. One that learns from mistakes. One that chooses to stay. Even when leaving feels easier. And with you, I believe that's possible. Because you're not just someone who walked into my life, you're someone who stayed when it mattered the most. And maybe one day, when we look back at all of this, at the beginning, at the uncertainty, at the way we slowly built something real, we'll smile. Not because everything was easy, but because we didn't give up. Because we chose each other, again and again. And until that day comes, until time turns these moments into memories, I will keep loving you. The same way I do now. Deeply. Honestly. Without fear of being too much. Because loving you is the most natural thing my heart has ever learned. So if you ever question this, if you ever doubt what we have, just remember. In a world full of temporary feelings, mine for you stayed. And it still does. And it always will.